Hello, everybody, far and wide, and welcome to this forum that looks back in time. Courtesy of Casa D18 Studios, we hope you enjoy what's being called Throwback Thursday. Over the coming weeks, months, and hopefully years to come, we hope that you will enjoy us opening the vaults and archives to look back at some of the most unique content across all of our platforms, whether it's Casa D18 Studios, the Jeff Meacham Network, NoDQ.com, my Sybil YouTube channel, The Sybil Man's Brand, and of course, FTW Productions, hosted by James Hebert at jhebertside95. It basically is just going to offer you a ton of classic content. So with that being said, buckle up, have fun, take a seat, just enjoy life and enjoy wrestling and enjoy what this Throwback Thursday has in store for you. And again, I hope that you stay tuned for many more that hopefully will come too.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from NoDQ.com.
Greetings to everyone out there in the NoDQ galaxy. Welcome to the NoDQ review here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel, of course. Joining us once again, he is back. Guess who's back? Back again. Our old buddy El Virtuoso was deported back to Mexico, so back with us early from suspension on good behavior is the one and only greatest columnist in NoDQ history, Mr. Virtue. How's it going, Virtue?
All right, so I'm going to start this properly, Aaron. This should have never happened. I'm back. I'm going to pretend it never happened, and I've always been here. I don't know who that El Virtuoso guy was. Get him out of here. So with that said, No DQ Galaxy, I am Virtue. It's great to be back on the No DQ review. Let me introduce everybody. So since I've been here last, we now have Jeff Meacham on the show and PA sensation Greg Cherry. Jeff, how's it going?
It is good to be here on the NoDQ Review with the man who started the NoDQ Review in the first place. Virtue's back, and not only is Virtue back, but I have a debut today. If you want one of these, let Aaron know. The official NoDQ.com baseball cap, courtesy of Undecided Apparel here in Santa Clarita, or wherever we get it. We'll see what happens.
Nice, and the baseball season actually started today, so
opening day today for baseball. Yes. I got to get the baseball cap going, and I know Greg has definitely got baseball on his mind, don't you, PA Sensation?
Yeah, specifically, yeah, I got to be the big heel. Yes, I'm from Pennsylvania, but I root for the Yankees, and they won today, which is the first time they've won on opening day in years. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling in the baseball mood, but this is wrestling season. This is WrestleMania season, so we got a lot to get.
But even
interesting that you're a Yankees
Pittsburgh
fan.
knows that the Pirates suck, so it's okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, heck, even Barry Bonds couldn't get them into the World Series. And I'm a Bonds fan. So with that said,
Aaron,
Aaron
what's going on?
How's it going? Aaron?
Oh, you're asking me how it's going? I just heard you guys talking about baseball, so I'm.
And he's zoned out.
Yeah, I'm zoning everybody out. Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm so happy you're back. Believe it or not, I did not want to suspend you. I had no choice, but you were very well behaved for the most part. There were little issues here and there on social media, but overall, good behavior.
Issues. I just put people in their place. And that awkwardness that you had right there for a second while we were talking baseball reminded me of Ronda Rousey on ESPN. I want to bring this up as our number one topic and get everybody's thoughts. It's WrestleMania season. WWE knew for a while now they were bringing Ronda Rousey into the picture. She debuted at the Royal Rumble, shook Stephanie's hand, pointed at the WrestleMania sign. This girl can't cut a promo. She's green in the ring. Sure, she's a great real fighter, but is this working in the land of sports entertainment? Because I think WWE needs to protect her. Because granted, how do you go on ESPN? This cannot be a work. Jeff, I want to start with you. She is clueless in front of that camera. Are we being worked?
No, yeah, I don't honestly know at this point, Virtue. It seems to me that she's still very deer in the headlights. Like she was on ESPN. She's been on a few things the last week where she's been very, very like, look at me, I'm on WWE now and I'm so happy. It's like, no, you got to be intense, badass, rowdy Ronda Rousey. You got to be in there ready to kick serious butt at WrestleMania, take down Triple H, take down Stephanie. And yeah, she cut a little promo. I saw her Instagram story, I think it was yesterday, that she was talking about, kicking the SHIT out of everybody else at WrestleMania. But it's like, yeah, you can do that on Instagram, but you got to be in front of the camera on ESPN, on these different shows, and especially on Monday Night Raw where she hasn't been here and there. So, I notice Aaron's wearing the Roddy Piper t-shirt in honor of Rowdy Ronda Rousey. I've got the bubblegum soda. There you go, Roddy Piper. But you got to bring in Piper's attitude toward everything, toward the business and toward the media, where you are who you are, Rhonda, and you cannot be this, look at me, I'm so happy. It's like, no, you got to be badass from Jump Street.
And you know what I think? Well, you know what I think real quick here, Jeff? That they're not protecting Rhonda like they should.
Exactly.
Because WWE has done this for years. They have people there, Triple H, Stephanie, Vince. They know how this works. When you see something that's awkward, I mean, unless that's what they're playing into for her, just so the payoff of her going nuts at Mania and beating the crap out of Stephanie. Greg, what do you think?
I don't know if I have an opinion one way or the other. I don't want to give too much crap to Rhonda because she's really new in the business. So I'm willing to give her more of the benefit of the doubt. The whole thing with ESPN, the interview she had, I think part of that was on ESPN2. Not the channel ESPN2, ESPN also. It was on them also they were asking more about her MMA career than they were about wrestling. And she's past MMA. It's like, we don't want to talk about the past. We want to talk about the here and the now, why you're here on the show promoting WrestleMania. It's like UFC was years ago. So put that in the past. But I don't want to give any crap to her in the ring because we haven't seen her work a match yet. So let's wait till WrestleMania, give her the benefit of the doubt. Don't crap all over her because it's her first match at WrestleMania. Let's see what happens. I'm willing to give things a chance before I completely bury them.
And Aaron, I want to know what you think here too. I remember when Rousey first came in, I was actually a little skeptical on one of our videos, and I've since backtracked, and I've been really supporting her. So me coming out today, firing everybody up with this topic, it's because I can't deny what I'm seeing. I mean, I was at Raw on Monday night in Cleveland, and she gets a pop. People are interested in her. But even being there in person, her ring timing's off. And I'm not an expert, but I've been in a ring with some wrestlers, so I kind of know how the timing thing can go. Aaron, what do you think?
I agree with you on that. I felt like the stuff she did was very awkward on Raw. Now, how will she fare at WrestleMania? That remains to be seen. I think Greg said it well. We have to wait and see what happens. As far as the ESPN interviews go, the clip I posted on NoDQ, I felt that the one guy who was asking her the question worded the question in a weird way, and I don't really blame her for responding the way she did. But yeah, I feel like she hasn't really, in terms of the hype for WrestleMania, really hasn't lived up to the expectations yet. And I did a poll on NoDQ.com about it, where I asked people which match you most excited for, and right now the tag match with Ronda Rousey is dead last as far as being the match people are most excited for at WrestleMania. And this match could very well be the main event. So in terms of hype, I don't think it's lived up to the expectations, but we'll see if they can deliver at WrestleMania. It's going to be a big test for them, though, in my opinion.
What was number one on that list? Sorry, I did not click on there yet. What was number one?
It was AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
Okay, yeah, as I figured it would be. Now, for me, number one going into WrestleMania is still this Undertaker and Cena. And I have heard a lot of Twitter feedback. Virtue, how can you be so excited for this match? Taker hasn't even shown up. We don't even know if he's got anything left in the tank. It's 7 years too late. There's no streak. Look, it's John Cena, who I've always been against because he was the force-fed guy. Everyone knows I support Roman Reigns. Maybe it's me just saying, you know what? I'm going to like what WWE says I should like because maybe that'll make me enjoy the other stuff more. Miz, for example, AJ and Nakamura. So I'm trying to play that game. I don't want to hate too much, right? Although, Virtue's rage. But with that said, still no Undertaker. Will something happen on Raw? If it doesn't, can this thing play out legendary at WrestleMania? Greg, I want to start with you. I'm hyped for this, man. I'm going to be there, so maybe I'm biased. Never seen Cena versus Undertaker live. What do you think, Greg?
I think that the build for this is a lot worse than it could be. I mean, Cena's working with what he's got. If Taker's not showing up till WrestleMania, I mean, he can only do so much. Cena's promos, though, whoever's writing for him needs to figure out a path. It's like he can't be goofy JBL is poopy John Cena and be intense John Cena in the same 10-minute promo. He can't do it because it kills the build of the match. Yes, John Cena versus The Undertaker will be a big match regardless because it's John Cena versus The Undertaker. Period. End. Streak doesn't even matter in this situation. It's Cena Taker at Mania. That's the match people wanted to see for years. And regardless of the build-up, and this is another thing. People always crap is like, I'm not really excited about this match because of the build-up. You have to think about it from the fact that you don't really need a strong story to have a good match. Case in point, and I'm going back 17 years now, Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit. Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit, WrestleMania 17. You know when their build started? The Go Home Raw.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 17. That's when their build started, and they had probably one of the best matches of the night on a very stacked card.
And Greg, what I'm surprised WWE hasn't done is remember when Cena came in on SmackDown, Ruthless Aggression, didn't he have, it was the Biker Taker back then, the American Badass. Wasn't there some interactions with, I'm surprised we have not seen Cena bring up some of this old footage. Any other thoughts on that? And then if not, pass it on to Aaron. I want to hear his take.
Well, they might not be building up the whole, Cena started his career getting respect from The Undertaker because of the American Badass thing, or the Red Devil, or whatever he was at that point.
That would draw a lot of buzz.
It would, but at the same time, maybe they want to save that and save a bigger surprise for when I still think he's going to come out as the American Badass. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know at this point. But I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, as I've mentioned on other videos that if Undertaker doesn't come back as the American Badass now, I think people are going to be disappointed. There's been so much internet hype over this that if he just shows up as the old Undertaker, we're all going to be like, well, why wait all these weeks just for it to be the regular Undertaker again? So I'm not sure how I feel about the build-up, but I think the match itself, when push comes to shove, I think it'll be very entertaining. I think the crowd will be very hot for the match, and it should go down as one of the all-time great WrestleMania matches. I would be surprised if it's somehow worse than Reigns versus Undertaker from last year. I feel like this will be a better match, and Undertaker will redeem himself from last year. At least I hope that, but my gut feeling is it will deliver. Jeff, your thoughts on it?
Well, Aaron, you and I were already working together by the time I'm going to bring this up. 2003 Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Undertaker had been off TV. Big Show, had Big Show write him off by throwing him off the stage. When he was coming back, there was hype then that he was going to return as a dead man then. And he didn't. And I remember you and I and our co-host at the time were like, see, it didn't deliver.
Yeah.
And I'm worried that's going to happen here, where we're so hyped up for the American Badass, the biker, whatever you want to call him, and then the gong and he walks out as the dead man. We're going to be like, okay, well, we didn't expect that, but let's see what happens. I think we're putting too much emphasis on the persona and not on the fact that, okay, we're going to have Undertaker versus John Cena on the grand stage. Regardless of which Undertaker comes out there, this is the chance for Undertaker to redeem himself one way or the other from last year, and it's a chance for Cena to possibly exit gracefully.
Yeah.
And I think we're missing one point here. This match is catering not to the like us. It's catering to like those 7, 10, 12-year-old kids.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, yes, some of them, started watching wrestling, and Taker was already down on his schedule, only doing WrestleMania. Cena, but Cena has been big, and so they know who these guys are, especially if they have the WWE Network, which they do. I think WWE's pushing this match towards them, so it's going to be very interesting because we know how hot or quiet those WrestleMania crowds can be. But anyway, I'm excited for it. I'm going to be there again. Maybe I'm biased. With that said, Shane and Daniel Bryan is now official versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens per Daniel Bryan on SmackDown. So I guess what I want to ask each one of you is, what should we expect, or should we be excited for this? Obviously, we know Daniel Bryan has not worked for a few years now. We did see that little bit a couple weeks ago on SmackDown. Well, it was actually last week on SmackDown. He did nothing this week. How much do you think Daniel Bryan will be wrestling in this match? And should we be excited? I mean, I don't even know. I guess should we be excited because what's going to happen? It's Shane and Daniel Bryan who've been at odds. Aaron, I'll start with you this time.
So I'm looking forward to the match. I think there's a lot of question marks about this match. For one, what kind of shape will Daniel Bryan be in? What will he be able to do? And the other question now is, what kind of shape will Shane McMahon be in for this match? With his whole illness, he is apparently still going to be there. I'm really curious as to how this plays out. And the other thing, too, is what order match placement will this match be? Is it going to be the opening match? Is it going to be halfway through the show? There's a lot of questions. Is Daniel Bryan going to win his first match back? Are Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn going to remain fired? So many things I'm wondering about this match. It's definitely got me intrigued, and I'm really curious to see how it goes down. Greg, your thoughts on the match?
Part of me thinks, and I'm kind of hoping that the whole diverticulitis thing is a work. I really am. If it's not, I know it's a serious illness because Brock Lesnar had it too. Yeah. And if Shane McMahon is healthy, this match will be fantastic. And everybody knows, who's watching me on videos, that I'm a big Shane O'Mac supporter. And especially Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. You got 4 of the best in-ring performers working a tag match together. I think it's going to be spectacular. Maybe I'm hyping it up too much in my mind, but with Daniel Bryan's return to the ring, his first match in 3 years? Close to 3 years? Because he retired shortly after WrestleMania, or his last match was shortly after WrestleMania 31, because he retired as Intercontinental Champion. I just think this match is going to be something special. I think there's going to be more to the story played out at WrestleMania. So it's going to be one of those, I feel like it's going to be some sort of heart-wrenching moment or like really exciting moment that's going to happen in this match. This is definitely a match to watch at WrestleMania. Jeff? And Jeff, before you start, what I'm interested here, last time we were at New Orleans for WrestleMania, there was a gasp moment when The Undertaker lost for the first time. I don't know why I have this feeling, and I don't know where it's going to happen. I think there's going to be something where the crowd's just like, could this be that match? What do you think?
Yeah, it's one of those things where people have been talking about Daniel Bryan turning for so long and joining up with Owens and Zayn that we're actually not. Oh, it might happen now. Holy crap, it might happen at WrestleMania. But I think that anything but a Daniel Bryan babyface victory at WrestleMania, people are going to be like, oh, really? Because Bryan's our guy. Bryan has been our guy. Bryan's been Aaron and my guy for freaking 13 years or whatever since going to PWG. But It just, I don't think it can work any other way than Bryan getting some sort of big babyface moment. I think if he turns heel, it'll be a gas moment, like you said, Virtue, but it'll be crapped upon.
What if? I don't mean to interrupt you. I want to add to what you were going to say. What if Shane turns heel? Because I remember I said last time not me. I can't believe I said that.
El Virtuoso.
I've heard, yeah. Well, I had to watch this idiot that Aaron put on the show to see if he was better than me. But I heard him say Shane versus Bryan at SummerSlam and have Bryan finally beat a McMahon. So can you see something like that?
I was just going to say, if anybody's going to turn, it's got to be Shane. Number one, if he's not healthy by WrestleMania, they got to work something in where Bryan's going to do the majority of the work. So he's going to be in there, kicking butt and, taking the beating from Owens and Zayn, or Steen and Generico, whatever the hell they're calling him right now. And I think personally it should be Bryan goes for the hot tag and Shane comes in a la Ric Flair at Halloween Havoc and just guzzles Bryan with Owens and Zayn. That's what I would do.
Interesting. It's WrestleMania season. You know what? We're almost there. So earlier I talked about
week is next week, baby. That's all I gotta say.
That's right. And I'm going to be heading down there on Thursday. Earlier I talked about protecting. I used Ronda Rousey as an example. WWE still knows how to protect. And correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron. You know more details on things than I do. So Charlotte was pulled from the mixed match challenge because of sickness or injury, and they replaced her. Bobby Roode. It was Bobby Roode and Becky.
Yeah.
Why do you think they did this? Of course, blatantly, they don't want Charlotte and Asuka to square off yet because they want to save it for Mania, or is there something else that I didn't pay attention to or I didn't see? Remember, I thought Rousey got to Stephanie way too soon. So is this classic WWE protecting here for Mania? What do you think?
So actually, it has nothing to do with Charlotte and Asuka getting in the ring before WrestleMania. That is still on for next week. Charlotte is going to be in the finals with Bobby Roode against Miz and Asuka as originally planned. What happened was she had the dental surgery. She had some sort of gum infection, and that's why she was pulled this week. Becky Lynch just took her place for the 1 week, and WWE stuck with their booking plan and had Becky Lynch and Bob Roode go over. So next week, it's going to be the finals. Yeah, Bob Roode.
With that said, why would you... So granted, Charlotte had the dental surgery. Why would you put an alternate in there and then go back to Charlotte? To me, that's so convoluted. They should have played it off like they were protecting Charlotte, or Charlotte didn't want to face Asuka, turn Charlotte heel. Why don't they do stuff like this? I mean, that's really what I wanted to get to. Because this is ridiculous that they pull her, put her back in for the final. It's dumb.
Yeah.
It's like when Booker T got hurt and they put in Randy Orton. It's just a matter of injury. They got to do what they got to do to get through the angle.
But to go back to Charlotte because they won, it's like at that point, why didn't you just have the other team win? So then you don't have to worry about doing that. Who did they beat
in the finals?
Well, yeah, because I think Greg, correct me if I think what Greg's going with is I would love to see Charlotte and Asuka get in the ring and have that moment before Mania going, oh my God, we're going to see it now, and then Charlotte tags out and turns heel or something. It does something very Flair-ish.
No, I bet something like that happens and Miz tags Asuka.
There you go.
I feel like the finish is going to be between Miz and Bobby Roode. Okay, I don't see it being Asuka and Charlotte, because if Asuka taps Charlotte out just 5 days before WrestleMania,
the Mania's screwed. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I just think it's weird. Yeah, I just think it's weird that they're doing that. And granted, I guess you can't predict when somebody has to be out for whatever, but it just, to me, it doesn't make sense. You have an alternate, and then but I guess in basketball and in sports, you can sub a player in and out. So whatever. Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes. Aaron, when does that air? Tuesday night?
Yeah, that's next week. So yeah, I'm really curious to see how this
Tuesday Night Live, baby.
But yeah, if I had to make a prediction,
maybe Becky comes out and gets involved. Anyway,
maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, my prediction is that it's going to be Miz pinning Bobby Roode, and that'll be how Miz and Asuka win the finals. I don't see anything else other than that happening. I think Asuka beating Charlotte would be a mistake. You want to keep Charlotte as strong as possible. I don't think she should be losing to Asuka heading into WrestleMania. That's just my take on it.
Right.
Interesting. All right. Who wants to walk? No, not with Virtue. with Elias. So I was at Raw. I see how he comes out. They turn their lights down. You see him walking down to the ring. He gets in. They do that whole. The crowd gets into it. And Aaron, I know you said in the past it's easy to insult the crowd and get heat. Yeah. But I swear Elias does have an old school. The way he approaches it, it feels organic. Like he's not fed lines to get the crowd to react. He's just going on what he learned, who trained him, and to me, does this guy not have anything for WrestleMania? Could he be Braun's tag team partner? Maybe. Now, in his promo on Raw, I heard him say, and this is me getting ahead of myself, I heard him say the word electric. With that said, what should Elias have at WrestleMania? Or is he just going to be thrown in the Battle Royal? Jeff, I will start with you. I really like this guy.
Elias has grown on me like a fungus. He really has. He's kind of like I don't want to get into him, but I can't help myself. The guy is too good to not be into, I don't think. But I'd like to see him be Braun's partner just because it's so ridiculous. That it would almost make so little sense that it would make sense, if that makes any sense what I just said. But there's talk that Aaron NoDQ report. Shut up, Greg. There's NoDQ reported that it's going to be Mysterio maybe in there with Strowman, which would be another one like what? Yeah. So who knows? But I personally would rather see Elias in the tag match than in the Battle Royal.
Okay, Greg.
Well, I think they're just with the Mysterio reports. I think they're just trying to throw people off to keep people guessing. I don't think there's anything to that. The thing with Elias is, I mean, we watched him in NXT, and Elias has kind of like that Alexa Bliss type thing. And hear me out here, because Alexa Bliss wasn't a huge deal in NXT, but upon coming to the main roster, she's one of the hottest things like in the women's division in a long time. Right. And Elias is doing the same thing for the men. I just think that could Elias be his partner? Yeah. But I think he's going to more likely be given a segment, possibly with a WrestleMania legend. The WrestleMania legend's going to beat him up because that's what happens to heels at WrestleMania. And that'll be that. And possibly with the electric, perhaps we see The Rock. I'm guessing that's what you were alluding to, Virtue.
I mean, I'm going to be there, of course. Give me everything, right? So I'm thinking that way.
That's it.
Aaron, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think Greg nailed it. I think it's going to be Elias doing some sort of concert. He's going to be on the guitar, and then somebody is going to interrupt him. Will it be The Rock? I mean, that would be cool, but I don't think people should get their hopes up for that happening. I could see Jeff Jarrett. I think Jeff Jarrett's a more realistic possibility. Jeff Jarrett's going to come out and hit Elias with the guitar and give Elias a little taste of his own medicine.
Acoustic equalizer.
Hey, Aaron, why can't for once, though, Jarrett do some business, and he comes out to do that, but he gets laid out? A Hall of Famer, you know how over that could help get Elias? I mean, that's the stuff that I think we miss in wrestling. Yeah. Guys passing the torch.
But it's showing respect to the legend.
Feel-good moments are but his feel-good moments Friday night at the Hall of Fame, walking out on the ramp, doing the wave. I'm serious about that. I mean, to me, would it be wrong if I booked WWE? I bet you I could talk them into that angle.
The problem with
Jarrett and Elias, that is.
The problem with Elias getting one over on Jarrett is that people have been talked down about for Jeff Jarrett by WWE for so long that it's like, okay, well, the core WWE fans, the 9 to 12-year-old kids, like you're talking about, Virtue, they're not going to care that Jeff Jarrett gets one over on Elias because who is Jeff Jarrett? Oh, it's that guy that Vince fired on the last Nitro. We don't care about him. Yeah. So that's just my take on it, though.
Yeah, I don't.
But Aaron, did you want to finish on your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't think it's that big of a deal if Jeff Jarrett lays out Elias, but it could happen the way you described it. Maybe Elias will get the best of Jeff Jarrett. Maybe Jarrett will attack him, and then backstage Elias could jump Jarrett and hit him with a guitar. There's several ways you could approach it. So yeah, I think that's what's going to happen with Elias, and I don't think he's going to be the tag team partner for Strowman. Mysterio just did an interview literally a day or so ago and said that he's got the bicep injury and he's going to be out for at least a month. He's not going to have surgery. So I don't think it's going to be Mysterio. I think that's just pure speculation by people. I don't think there's anything to it. And my guess is it'll be either Joe or Big Cass, one of those two. And I think the one that's not Strowman's partner will probably win the Battle Royal if I had to make a prediction.
Interesting. And you know what? I can't fault you for saying that. Those are good picks. Hey, Aaron.
Well, we'll get to predictions next week for WrestleMania. So there you go.
Yes.
Aaron, I have a topic here.
Okay.
And everybody knows how I said Rusev Day was a fad. It was a chant. Wasn't going to happen. Well, he didn't get pushed to the main event. But the best part to me about SmackDown this week is he is now in, correct me if I'm wrong, the United States Championship match. It's now a fatal four-way. So, to me, this is a big deal. Now, granted, Jinder Mahal, Bobby Roode, heck, who's the champion? Randy Orton.
Randy Orton.
It's like I'm forgetting. It's like it's easily forgettable because, but not Randy's fault. WWE Creative's fault. But adding Rusev to this makes it interesting. And I know we're going to do predictions next week. But here's what I want to ask: is this a big deal? I think it is because Rusev now has something, and they got it. They got to run with this guy. I don't know if they'll do a reboot. You know how they do a brand reboot after Mania? It's, different feuds, this and that. Rusev needs to be a focal point. Aaron, I'll start with you because I know you love this and the gimmick with Aiden English. And are they going to keep them together after Mania?
That's a great question. I think they will for the time being because they work well together, and it definitely helps Aiden English to be associated with Rusev. It's a good pairing. I like the pairing. The match with Rusev added, I think, changes the whole dynamic of it. I think it makes the match a lot more intriguing. I think it's going to be a better match with Rusev. I think it's going to have more crowd heat with Rusev. And I'm really curious now to see how this goes. I don't think Rusev's going to win the title, but I'll have to see how next week's SmackDown Live plays out before I make a final prediction. It would surprise me, but I'm not going to rule anything out with that one. Jeff, your thoughts on the match?
I did not get into Rusev very well when he first came in because I thought, here's another, foreign sympathizer guy, just whatever. But you know what? Kind of like Elias, but Rusev took even longer for me to get into. And I love that they're doing something with him and that it was organic. That, they said Rusev Day once and it built. And it's become this thing now where, Don and I were at SmackDown about a month or so ago at Staples Center, and people were going nuts that Rusev was not on the show in front of the crowd. He was on a backstage segment, but he wasn't in front of us in the live arena. And Rusev's over. Rusev Day is not over. It'll never be over. It's always Rusev Day now. So I love that he's in this match. And I would love to see him win just for the sake of WWE going, okay, you know what? You like this guy. We're acknowledging that. Here you go. Here's him. And then what Rusev does is, I have U.S. title again. Ha, ha, ha. You stupid Americans. And just completely just crap on everybody and turn back heel. That's what I would do.
Greg, and trust me, on this one, I have a great prediction that I think I could see WWE do, but we'll talk about that next week. Greg,
right.
Thoughts on Rusev Day being in the U.S. title match?
I think it makes it from a kickoff show match to a main card match.
Yep.
Because that crowd, I think it's going to be the opening match of the main card. That's exactly what I think is going to happen. Because you'll start off WrestleMania, Aiden English will come out, that crowd will lose their freaking minds. And
you called it. You called it, man. Definitely.
Yes. And I know, like we said, we're doing predictions next week. But if that match has anything other than Rusev winning the United States title, there's something wrong with the booking.
Yep.
Hey, I just wanted to add something. I'd love to see Elias and Aiden English do some sort of duet together at WrestleMania. So it's usually a show when we get Raw and SmackDown merged together. I'd love to see the two of them do something together, have a segment together. That would be awesome. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yep.
Featuring Joey and Paul.
I like that idea, Aaron. Entertainment.
Oh my
Sports
goodness.
entertainment.
Yeah.
But again, we can easily predict now, but let's wait until next week. Let's give the NoDQ Galaxy something more to look forward to. On to the next topic.
All right.
Did you see the Miz TV segment?
Hoy.
So here's the thing. I'm there. Me and my buddies, we're elbowing each other because we're seeing where it's going, right? The whole, Mr. Perfect thing, the way that it was panning out like, oh my God, they're blowing up.
Yeah.
Balor and Rollins are getting the Miz Taraj to turn on the Miz. And I was like, God, they have to beat Balor and Rollins up and have some heat for the Miz. And what happened? It went that way.
Yep.
We're rejoicing. We're over here like, thank you. You know how to give a heel some heat. They took it all away, and Miz still looked foolish. And I have a problem with this. How do you go from a great segment which should have ended? It should have ended after they did that turn, so to speak. They should have powdered. The club should have came out, right? And that's when they could have powdered, but they were never touched. That was just my opinion. Give the heat to the Miz and the Miztourage. Now, I know we got Raw coming up, so maybe they'll do that on Raw, and maybe the Miz will retain the title. I don't know. I thought this went from great to crap. Greg, I'll start with you. Am I nuts?
You know, the way they've been booking The Miz lately is he has to get one over at some point. I mean, the one-sided thing worked when it was Batista, Cena, and Batista, the heel, was getting all the one-ups on Cena. That works. The babyface is getting over on the heel every time makes it like, okay, well, if they were to beat him at WrestleMania, it's no big deal because they've always been able to get one over on him. Right. So it's a weird booking for this triple threat. I really wish, and my dog's not happy about it either. I mean, he's freaking out about The Miz.
It's not me for once. Woo!
Yeah, it's not you. The fact that Balor won't be the demon, and I guess that's speculation too, but they really haven't alluded to that at all. He won't have a demon WrestleMania entrance, which is really annoying me. And I don't know, it's just a weird. It's going to be a good match. It's just weird how they're booking it.
They're making The Miz look like he can only win by extreme measures of cheating and hijinks. Jeff?
It goes back to a segment we covered a long time ago. Aaron and I covered this a long time ago for WrestleMania 22. When we went into the main event at WrestleMania 22, and all Triple H could talk about was how bad a wrestler John Cena was. Yeah. It's like, okay, well, if Cena sucks so bad, if he beats you, then you look really bad. And if you beat him, hey, you beat a crappy wrestler, no big deal. Mm-hmm. The Miz has been beat up and beat up and beat up. And so if he wins at Mania, oh my God, a crappy guy that has no heat pulled it off. What horrible booking. And if he loses, well, he was supposed to lose, no big deal. He has got to get some serious heat back Monday night, or this match falls completely flat.
Bingo. Aaron.
Yeah, great point. I really have nothing else to say about it. I think Jeff hit it right on the head. I think The Miz needs some credibility. I do like the cowardly champion. It's a good gimmick, but I think Miz does need some credibility sometimes. You need to do something with the guy and give him a little bit of a rub and give him some heat, like you said, Virtue. I think you guys all made great points, and I really have nothing else to add to it. I hope on Monday Miz does something to give himself some credibility and make him a feared champion. He's not just a guy who relies on the Miztourage, but a guy who can get the job done by himself if needed. Give him a big win or give him something on Raw without the Miztourage helping him out. That's what I would like to see on Raw at least.
Good point. And you know what? I can't go my first review back without talking, and I didn't even put this on the bullet points that I sent you guys in our private chat. Roman Reigns. So here we are. A year ago, we knew, after WrestleMania season, we knew they were booking Roman Reigns to Brock Lesnar for WrestleMania 34. We're here. Started off intriguing several weeks ago when Roman cut, a worked shoot type promo. And what did WWE do after that? They did have the little fourth wall break with Roman and Vince, with Shane and Gorilla.
Yeah.
And it's just been absolutely nothing. It's basically Heyman cutting his promos, Roman getting beat up. Your classic Vince McMahon have the hero getting beat up, having the villain voice and Heyman talking down, talking up his client, just so we can get Roman the Universal title at Mania. And I'm telling you what, I can't blame Roman and I can't blame Brock. I mean, these guys are Brock I could for not showing up as much, but that's his contract. I mean, wouldn't you get the most money for the little amount of work you can do? We all would.
Yeah. I'm
blaming Vince McMahon, WWE, and the creative guys in Vince's inner circle working on this angle. If it's going to go on last, you should pull in Vince Russo type booking or Ed Ferrara or Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman's in the angle. Yeah. Jeff, I'm going to start with you. What could have made this more interesting? We don't have much time left.
I would have honestly not let either. It goes back to what we talked about with Charlotte and Asuka, Stephanie and Ronda. Don't have them touch. Period. The fact that I mentioned this last week on the review, I believe. The fact that Roman kept calling Brock the words he was calling him that I got made fun of for censoring my own words last week. It was funnier than heck though. But the fact of the matter is they touched because Brock ended up acting like a punk and attacked him from behind when he was handcuffed. The booking of this is so bad in general. I would have had Roman continue to run Brock down and have Heyman not Brock at all. Have Heyman come out there and yak, and then eventually, maybe on the Go Home show this coming Monday, have Roman drop Heyman.
Yes.
And then Brock is just rage at WrestleMania that we see this amazing back and forth like we had when Aaron was there at 31. It just beat the crap out of each other for how many minutes it was.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Jeff. I think that's a really strong point. Although I will say that they already did that last year with Samoa Joe beating up Paul Heyman, so it has been done. If it was me,
but, you know.
If it was me, I would have just had Brock no-show every episode of Raw all the way up to WrestleMania. So he doesn't show up at all, and you're wondering what's going to happen. Is there even going to be a match? I think that would have been a lot more compelling. And it's not like WWE needs the pay-per-view buy rate. It's not like this match is going to prevent people from tuning into WrestleMania. So you could build up some intrigue and have Brock no-show and make people wonder, is this guy even going to show up? Is there going to be a Universal title match, period? That's what I would have liked to have seen. This thing that they're doing now, it's very predictable. It's very bland, but maybe there's a method to the madness. Maybe WWE knows that the fans are going to be pissed off about Roman Reigns being booked as an underdog, that they're going to boo even louder and make more noise, and that's what they want. They don't care about Roman Reigns getting booed. They just want the noise. They just want people to make noise, and this very well could be done by design, purposely booking Roman Reigns like an underdog because they know the fans resent that, and they're going to boo Reigns and make noise for the match. Greg, how do you see it?
The way I see it is I'm fine that they have the physicality before. The thing is, they made it look like a work. If Roman is saying the things about Brock that he was saying, it should look like they are legitimately beating the crap out of each other, and the whole thing should be a shoot. That's how I would have booked it. I'm fine with Brock being there. I'm fine with Roman running them down. But the way they're booking it, it's like, okay, well, the last 2 weeks were work, so it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And the way they're booking it, it's going to main event, which drives me insane. I still think, and I've said this for months, that the Universal title, Roman and Brock, should open the show.
Yep.
Interesting. And, we are going to have a very, very interesting WrestleMania preview next week.
Yes,
I wish we could fast forward because I want to talk more about certain things and details now, but we're going to stall. So
keep them waiting. Keep them guessing.
Main event time. Finally. And by the way, don't expect these videos to be an hour all the time. We are now streamlining because we're going to be giving you more content. So maybe you'll get more videos than just one No DQ review every week. But with that said, here's my topic. You guys ready for this? Favorite WrestleMania match of all time. Now, I know we've done No DQ panels, but this is WrestleMania season. And Jeff, you've been watching all the WrestleManias lately. Yep. So I'm going to go to each one of you, and you can do this. Don't start listing a bunch of matches. You can say one honorable mention, but I want to know each one of your favorite all-time WrestleMania match. Jeff, since you are Mr. WrestleMania this time of year, watching every one.
Yeah, true story.
Go.
Mainly because I was there, but also because it was a wonderful match and a great story. Ric Flair versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 24.
So that's your all-time WrestleMania match?
My favorite all-time WrestleMania match that I've seen. I was a part of it. I was in that crowd. I was in that moment with Flair, with Shawn, with everybody. I still watch. I still get teary-eyed when I watch it from home 10 years later. And I also put that match and that Mania with my son being born, because he was born the Friday after WrestleMania. So that whole WrestleMania just tugs on my heartstrings every single time I watch it.
And isn't that what wrestling is supposed to be about, or getting into anything? Right. Literally, not just watching it as a show, but the memories you have personally because of it. Friends,
exactly.
Family.
Yep.
Good. That's a great one. Gosh, man. Now we have to follow that. Greg, I'm putting you on the spot next. And since, again, you can, if you're undecided, do an honorable mention as well.
My honorable mention, and I'm going with one that I was at, Undertaker, Triple H, Hell in a Cell, WrestleMania 28.
With Shawn and Jeff?
Yes, with Shawn Michaels as a referee. And, you know, my wife and Travis were both there. We were all seated together watching that WrestleMania. And we were on the edge of our seat. We were standing. It was absolutely incredible to watch 20-0 happen. But the match I have to give the edge to is going to have to be, involves two of those men, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, WrestleMania 25.
That's a great match.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really go wrong
Probably
there.
the greatest WrestleMania match in history. I'd say 26, and a lot of people may give me crap for this. I haven't watched it yet because I refuse to.
Because Sean retired.
John retired. I refuse to watch the match.
I will not acknowledge his retirement. I will not.
Interesting. So I those are good picks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Aaron, you've probably been on record of this 100 times, but go ahead on this video for the review on the NoDQ Galaxy.
I think everybody knows my all-time favorite is Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, or not Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, actually. Bret Hart, Steve Austin, the submission match from WrestleMania 13. I just have Shawn Michaels on the brain here, and I'll tell you why in a second. That WrestleMania 13 match, that made the Attitude Era. That's the real transition from the New Generation era to the Attitude Era and made Steve Austin a superstar. The double turn was flawless. It was such a compelling storyline. I love everything about it. One of my all-time favorites. Actually, my all-time favorite match, period, not just WrestleMania, is that submission match. Biggest match, in my opinion, not just in terms of the quality, but the importance of that match and how it changed the entire industry. My honorable mention is a match that I saw in person, and that was Shawn Michaels, as I mentioned a few moments ago, against Kurt Angle from WrestleMania 21. My all-time favorite match that I've seen in person. So that's my honorable mention, and that's there because I was in person for that one, and just an amazing, almost perfect match.
Yeah, and everybody on NoDQ staff was there except me and my co-host in XMB at the time, Lee. Everybody was there except us.
Yeah, a lot of
we
people
were home, actually. We were here watching at home.
Yeah, a lot of people were at that show.
This is a tough one. Yep. So, and again, great choices, Aaron. I mean, really, we're building a list here. I mean, these are all the top 10 all-time great matches.
I did a top 34 WrestleMania match video recently, and all the matches we've talked about were on that list.
Yep.
So I'm going to throw. So obviously, I do like Steamboat Savage, but you know, so many matches have happened since then. It's up there. My honorable mention. It's not going to be on your list, Aaron, but I'll give you my reasons. Was Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin at WrestleMania 14 because I'm really conflicted why this isn't my number one. It wasn't not a great match because Steve was off of a broken neck the year before. Shawn's back was blown up to all hell. Right. But the way, you know, Shawn didn't want to lose his spot. But he knew he needed to go away for a while. He had demons. He had the severe back injury, and it was time. It was time. This was time that WWE was going to kick WCW's butt, and he did it. He still was a professional, and he did it. And I'll tell you what. I go back and I watch that match, and I see the pain in Shawn's eyes, and the Tyson thing. That was just icing on the cake. To me, that was awesome. It takes me back to high school, my senior year. Again, can you fault me for loving that match?
No,
but it wasn't my all-time favorite. It will always be, and I don't know. I mean, not even Jeff and Matt could take a brotherly feud, a family feud. And you know, you did have Shane and Vince, whatever. Owen Hart and Bret Hart. I have still not seen a compelling story where two guys worked it to make you think they really hated each other. And the fact that it went on first, and we've talked about this on NoDQ panel videos, it went on first, it delivered, you know, right up there. Again, match of the night for me, favorite match of all time. I know we had Shawn and Razor. They had a gimmick, though. It was a ladder. Just the fact that it led to Bret winning the title, everybody going out there and celebrating with him, and I think what topped it off, what made that opening match with Bret and Owen better was they let Owen come out and they did the shot from the aisleway looking in disgust at his brother who was given that opportunity. Yep. So, again, that's what just happened. Anyway, so like Owen coming out at the end, to me, that's what made the match even better. Because when Bret won, when he beat Yokozuna and then the locker room came out and celebrated with Bret, where was Owen? The camera was behind him, showing him watch Bret in disgust. And again, I love the stories, you know, and if I felt back then, you know, I was 13 or 14, I knew wrestling was fake, but I suspended my disbelief. So everybody, great choices, obviously, and mine might change this year. I'm going to be at WrestleMania, so maybe I'll see something live that'll become memorable. Do I think it'll be better than the Owen and Brett? Probably not, but we will see.
It's amazing how much a live Mania can change, because WrestleMania 2000, for the most part, was god-awful. But it was my first Mania. So it was special to me because it was my first. It's like, 2000 was pretty much a craptastic WrestleMania, but it was still good for me because I was there.
Right.
So
that's a good point. And you did have Jericho, Benoit, and Angle, right?
True Fall Triple Threat, yes, sir. Yep.
And the triple threat ladder match.
The original before TLC, before it was called TLC. That's true. But on the whole, if you remember, there was not one non-gimmicked singles match that whole night. Yeah. And for me, I love singles matches more than anything else. So it's kind of like, okay, when you watch it back, go, God, that was really bad. But you realize you're there, and you're in the moment of WrestleMania, which is what it's all about.
Right.
And it is Mania season. And with that said, Aaron, I'm going to start with you. What's going on? I know you always got a lot. Did someone win the second beach ball?
Yes, we have a winner. He actually won it. Yeah, the most hated beach ball in the world, apparently. The NoDQ.
I think it now has to make an appearance on every review video going forward. That's my opinion.
I agree on that. I think the beach ball totally rocks, but that's just my opinion. But anyways,
my 10-year-old son loves it, so it's good enough for me, dang
Exactly. It brings joy to people. It makes people happy, and that's what life is about, is having fun and being happy. Why hate something that brings joy to kids? But whatever.
Why must there be hate? Why?
Yeah, where is the love, as the Black Eyed Peas once said. But anyways, I do have beach balls still available, NoDQMISC@gmail.com. I have beanies in production, and as Jeff mentioned at the beginning, we got the baseball caps, the prototype there. It's obviously a prototype. They just did a test.
It's crooked. Yeah, it's a little crooked. Yeah.
But if you guys like it, let us know. We will get some in production. And, of course, stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the latest. Greg, go ahead with your plugs.
You can follow me on Twitter at PA Sensation. Still trying to get to 1,000 people. Come on. What are you waiting for? Really? And season 4 of this is coming soon. Wrestling Trivia Challenge.
That is a beautiful bracelet, by the way. That is a $1,000 bracelet. That is an expensive piece of jewelry right there.
That's right up there with a Ric Flair Rolex, baby.
Rolex wearing. That's right. Woo!
I'm going to have to start my own bracelet wearing. I'll figure it out by the time season 4 comes around.
We'll get there after Mania, absolutely. 2 times. Yes. That's right.
2-time champion. I'll defend it after Mania because we got a lot going on. So stay tuned for that shortly after WrestleMania.
Jeff.
My turn. Okay. ProWrestlingTees.com. Search NoDQ video. NoDQ&AV is still on Pro Wrestling Tees, right, Aaron?
Yeah.
Okay, so search that. Check out. Ask Aaron if you want to see. Like I said, it'll look more like this when it's straight. So, yeah. Check out the baseball caps if you want them. Let us know. We'll get them made. And _ Jeff Meacham on Twitter and on Instagram. You can follow along with my WrestleMania journey, although by the time this goes up, it'll be over. There you go.
And, of course, everybody, you can follow me on Twitter at NoDQ_Virtue. I am less than 50 away from my goal in life of 1,000 Twitter followers. I don't know how. You can catch Virtue's Rage every week on NoDQ.com under the opinion section if you don't watch it on my Facebook Live. With me and Big G, we talk about Raw and SmackDown and any big stuff during, Raw Monday and Tuesday night. And with that said, it's great to be back on the NoDQ review.
Yay.
And next week, or the week before WrestleMania. So for Aaron Rift, for Greg Cherry, for Jeff Meacham, and for the whole NoDQ galaxy, I'm Virtue, and we will see you next time.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
It's out of my hands, but I'm still in control. It's out of my hands. You can never take away the power of my soul. It's out of my hands, but I'm still in control. It's out of my hands. You can never take away the power of my soul.
Scan the QR codes to see what's upcoming for FTW Productions and what's available on demand right now. Button Master Stable Wars entire playlist. AEW Revolution Go Home Week, Dynamite and Rampage watch parties. Mistress Audio dramatic readings featuring voice actors from Weymouth Youth Wrestling. All Retro Wrestling Review Series videos on demand and upcoming. All WrestleMania themed retros available now on demand. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order Let's Play Series. WrestleMania 19 Revenge Mode Let's Play Series. All of A Simple Man's Brand Simply Predicting panels. Both episodes of The Don DeMarco Show. AEW Spark, WWE Aftershock, every show week by week. Indy Force Episode 26, available now on demand. Jeff Meacham Network, Backlash and Rebellion Watch-Along events. FTW Productions Watch Party for WrestleMania Go Home Raw. A Simple Take, WWE Simple Takes featuring Casa D18 Studios. Super Mario Bros. Z voice acting. Episode 3 coming soon. Breaking news. ATW View Impromptu. WYW Intro and Immortal Stream. Wrestling with Idiocy Episode 7. Our favorite WrestleMania matches. Plugs have concluded. On to the video.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from the Jeff Meacham Network. The Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.
JJ, Jeff, you want to kick this thing off? Because I'm still trying to process everything here.
Yeah, it's like,
who wants to go first?
Yeah, who wants to go first?
Well,
Come on in. It's open mic night with your host.
You could maybe say there's really 4 topics, but it's split into 6.
The Renegade, J.J. Williams.
The Sammy and Eddie Kingston thing, which one's the better smelling turd?
And his panel of co-hosts.
I am the founder. We'll call me that for today since we're going with the Jeff Jarrett love theme here this week, according to JJ.
The West Coast Professor, Jeff Meacham.
Karma is karma.
That's professional wrestling! Damn it!
The Simple Man, Noah Foster.
It's showtime! Yeah! How you doing, JJ? How you doing, Jeff?
James.
Yeah.
And the He-Man, James Hebert.
Imagine Bill Burr, Joe Rogan, Paul White, the Baldies! There you go! It sells itself! Get in there!
Short his ass and shit the bed.
He's not Amber Heard.
Give it time, JJ, give it time.
No, I'm sure Jeff has some stuff that...
Dumb move. Just don't pull this bullshit again. You get one.
Tony needs to stop caring about the ratings.
Bradshaw said as long as the ads are in place, we're not going to lose that third hour.
Ring of Honor does not have to be AEW Live. They don't necessarily have to coexist with each other. We kind of saw that tonight to a degree.
Along with a panel of guests.
He is no longer glorious. Don't you bring that up. You want me to rant about what my NXT used to... No, we are done here for the night. I swear, James.
Because you never know who may show up for open mic night.
I leave our company in the capable hands of an extraordinary group of superstars, employees, and executives.
The first thing that came to my mind was, it's about damn time.
Amen!
I literally touched everybody in the state's trash. So it's horrible, you guys.
Peyton's new thing is Dennis the Menace, but it's funny because she calls it Dentist the Medicine. And
that's great.
When Elliot Taylor came out and did Born for Greatness live, I was popping my pussy, having a great time. I didn't care. I was having so much fun.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Fuck Bill Belichick.
We got it on wrestling, and then you bring in that shit. That's just how the fan goes off the damn rails. Brilliant, bloody brilliant.
There we go. Welcome back, everybody. We are here now for open mic night. God help us all, because it's post PLE, and we all know what that means here on the Jeff Meacham Network. And tonight, the Casa D18 Studios. And yes, we are back on Facebook and Twitter. So welcome back to the socials. For those of you that missed out on the pay-per-view,
Tweeter,
YouTube kids, Tweeter.
Tweeter.
Hello, Tweeter, and the Book of Face, as the Hardys would say. There we go. It's been a crazy, crazy few days, to say the very least, since we last did a pay-per-view. We last did an open mic night, which was last Sunday night after Double or Nothing, which, again, damn, was that a good pay-per-view.
Yes, it was.
But we went right up into the fat of the fire because, as people remember, I was at Dynamite on Wednesday. And
you were? I did not know that.
Right, there you go. So it's one of those things.
I was unaware.
Yeah, sure you were. So what happened was, in the process of what happened?
If you're going to be talking to someone off camera, mute the microphone.
Mikey, if you're going to talk to somebody off air, mute your mic. Jesus Christ Almighty. Anyway, let's see. I lost my train of thought now. Damn it. Okay, there we go.
How about you're at Dynamite on Wednesday?
Yes, yeah. In the process of being at Dynamite on Wednesday, we saw the first appearance as the AEW World Champion of one CM Punk. And unfortunately for one CM Punk, during the course of the 6-man match he had involving FTR and himself against, help me out with the opponents, guys.
Max Caster and the Ass Boys.
Oh, that's right. So, unfortunately, Mr. Punk sustained an injury. Apparently one of his legs is broken or some sort of catastrophic injury where he's going to need surgery is basically what happened. So what we have is a situation where I need to make that fix. There we go. Thank you very much. So I'm going to read this as best I can here, and we'll see if I can zoom in any farther and not lose the screen. I can't. Okay. So basically, this was issued Friday immediately following Punk's announcement over on Rampage, which of course was from Ontario, California, as the press release says. During Rampage from Ontario's sold out Toyota Arena, which again, great plug for Ontario and the arena, which JJ is very familiar with.
Yeah.
AEW World Champion CM Punk announced that due to injury, he would be out of action indefinitely. However, while willing to, he didn't write this on the thing here, he was willing to relinquish the championship, but he did not. Instead, Tony Khan announced that there would be an interim World Championship Eliminator Series beginning this Wednesday at AEW Dynamite on TBS. The multi-stage Eliminator Series will feature, and I'll go ahead and go to the next image here rather than, I'll read the whole thing. It's okay. An exciting battle royal featuring many of the top contenders in AEW will open Wednesday's Dynamite. The winner of that match, which will take place at the Cable Dahmer Arena in Independence, Missouri, will then face the number one ranked contender in AEW, Jon Moxley, and the winner of that match at the end of Dynamite will go on to face the winner of a match that was announced for Dominion coming up 1 week from tonight for you kids out here on the West Coast, that is. For the rest of you, it's 1 week from tomorrow morning. Hiroshi Tanahashi and Hiroki Goto, which we'll talk now in just a minute about those two guys. So the winner of those two matches, will then go on to June 26th in the Forbidden Door, and they will meet to determine the interim AEW World Champion. That was a lot to unpack, and I understand that, but let me go ahead and make it a little bit easier for y'all on the visual front. So, Dynamite, Wednesday night, we will have Jon Moxley, who was ranked number one in the AEW World Championship rankings under, of course, the world champion CM Punk, will face the winner of a battle royal that will kick off Dynamite Wednesday. So that's stage one, if you will. Stage two will then take place at Dominion in just a couple of days here. Actually, a couple of days after that, 1 week, again, from tonight if you're here in the West. Everywhere else, it's 1 week from tomorrow because it'll be Sunday, June 12th, actually, when this takes place in Japan. But Noah, tell us about these two guys. Let me go ahead and see what I'm talking about here. Tanahashi and Goto. Go ahead and fill our audience in on what this means, not only to the New Japan audience, but to the wrestling world, that these two guys have the opportunity to become AEW World Champion.
Well, Hiroshi Tanahashi is synonymous with New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's been there for pretty much his entire 50-year legacy, it seems, drawn it out of the Dark Ages. He's known as the ace of New Japan for a very good reason. He also has past history with the IWGP United States Championship, a title that also is very synonymous with Jon Moxley. It's Jon Moxley who called out Tanahashi at one point to challenge him per se title or just one-on-one in an affair, and that match has never happened. And meanwhile, Hiroki Goto, who has been a massive influence also with Tanahashi's help, leader, member in Chaos, former IWGP Tag Team Champion, multiple-time never openweight champion. These two have tremendous respect for each other, but also when it comes to competition, they have a heck of a rivalry and a very stern record. Multiple encounters during the G1 Climax, where most of the times Hiroshi Tanahashi has gotten the better of this very man. It's going to come down to who wants this more, not necessarily at AEW, but who wants this win more on the big stage that is Dominion. When it comes to Japan Pro Wrestling, Dominion at this point might as well be one of their big four shows, in my opinion, up there with Dontaku and what used to be King of Pro Wrestling, now the KOPW Championship, but that's another thing for another day. So
also on the line on Sunday, so
exactly. That's going to be a very, and I'm looking forward to that. All hail the Holy Emperor Tai.
My God.
Look, I'll talk about that later. I'm a Chris guy with the pants thing. We'll talk about that later when we do the preview and predictions. But as far as this goes, this is going to be a very interesting contest. Neither of these men have any history with Jon Moxley either. So either way, this is a first to come. Jon Moxley is the winner at the end of Dynamite, most likely will be, and awaits the winner of this match at Forbidden Door. These are two of the most premier names and longest veteran names for sure in New Japan Pro Wrestling that you're going to see duke it out at the highest form of competition.
It's just crazy how things change so rapidly in such a short span of time. We go from the unbelievable high that many of us felt at seeing CM Punk once again on top of the world as a world champion. You figure it had been almost 10 full years since he was a world champion in any wrestling company. Figure he walked in the 2013 Royal Rumble with the title and then walked out having lost to The Rock. And I pointed out to JJ earlier that the last time he entered a world championship match in Los Angeles, which was where Dynamite was Wednesday, he walked out still the WWE champion, having defeated John Cena and The Big Show in a triple threat match at SummerSlam. So the fact that he was able to come back to LA as a world champion, and I got to experience it. I said this on social media. When he came back to the wrestling business, one of my bucket list points was to see a CM Punk entrance in a match one more time. Cult personality, the match, everything. But if you noticed, we all kind of when he botched the buckshot lariat last Sunday. And for those of us that watched Dynamite, again, JJ, I know you haven't watched it, so I'm sorry. But for those of us that watched Dynamite or got to see it live, he botched it a couple of times. And it was ugly. Like it was like, oh, what the hell? And to the point of the people next to me were just giving it to him. And I don't know what made air. I haven't watched the entire show back yet, but he cut a promo basically saying, I'm going to screw up, I'm going to mess up, and I'll keep trying to get better. And you almost have the sense of he knows he's messing up, but at least he's acknowledging it to the crowd and at least to himself. And then here came Friday and everything got flipped tipsy-tavy. So I'll start with Jay, since he is literally getting all this right now as he hears it, without having watched the shows. What we all remember the famous Rick Rude promo from 25 years ago. What a difference a day makes. What a difference a week makes in the world of CM Punk and All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you go from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows. You walking out of the pay-per-view as the champion, vindicated, redeemed, and then less than a week later, you're out with injury again. I do like the fact that they're not taking the title off him.
Yes.
They're not making him relinquish it. They're doing what UFC and Ring of Honor have done in the past, creating an interim champion. That way down the road, we can get Moxley Punk or one of these other guys versus Punk, or whoever wins the Battle Royal. It's not set in stone that Moxley will win out of that match.
Very true.
Definitely the odds are in his favor, but the flip side of that coin is he doesn't know who he's facing.
Nor do the people in the Battle Royal. So once the Battle Royal is, everybody entering that Battle Royal knows they have a chance to face Moxley.
Correct.
Moxley doesn't know who he's facing.
That night.
So they can all mentally prepare for Moxley. Do some extra gym workouts, get the conditioning up to have to do 2 matches, go from a Battle Royal to an all-out brawl and war with Mox later in the night.
Exactly.
Mox doesn't have the same time to prepare.
No, but at the same time, Jay, Mox has that. He hasn't forgotten being robbed of the AEW championship at all.
Exactly.
I don't count Mox out though. Like I say, he's definitely the odds-on favorite because he's the number one contender. He's being given that bye, if you will, to the finals.
Right.
Whereas everybody else has to compete for that opportunity.
Yes.
On the flip side, JJ, Hiroshi Tanahashi and Hiroki Gogo, it's almost a pick 'em necessarily that Tanahashi's going to win that because of more counters. The ace has gotten the better of the Savage Warrior. In fact, their last singles encounter was during G1 Climax last year. Tanahashi beat him.
There you go. Those two guys I'm completely uneducated in, But back to my original point, I think it's good that AEW is going this route, and then we have something to look forward to down the line.
Right.
And that's not even technically set in stone, because whoever wins the interim title could potentially lose it before Punk comes back.
Yeah,
exactly.
This is something that could be factored into things too. So, it's one of the things that I really wish WWE would do is have an interim champion instead of constantly having to give belts up due to injury or whatever. Or losing your smile.
Jeez.
But I commend AEW for doing that and giving us that sense of prestige that this is something worthy of our time, because we're not just going to strip our brand new champion that we've invested all this money in, much to the chagrin of some longtime performers, and just call it a day.
It's funny you mentioned that guy, JJ. Mikey, I'll come to you. You've seen the promo at this point from Max. And I know JJ's seen it too because it was all over social media. If you missed it, you were literally in a hole in the ground Wednesday night at this point. I mean,
I haven't seen the entire 8 minutes. I've seen about half of it.
That's okay.
The condensed version. But
right.
I have enough of a gist of what Mr. Friedman said that evening.
Yes. Mikey, so Max made it very clear. He wants gone. He doesn't want to be in the company anymore. At least, and again, like I said on social media, whether it's a work or a shoot, Max is a made man. Is this the opportunity for him to make the stand? Is this the opportunity, Mike, for him to go into this battle royal, insert himself, against Tony Khan's will, and find a way to get in the battle royal, win this thing, and then beat Mox? Or do we not see him at all Wednesday and he slithers his way in a different way later on? Mikey is, I think, muted or doesn't realize he's still muted because there we go.
There you go.
From what I've heard about MJF, no showing and all this stuff, I don't know much about him. But if I'm hearing all this bad stuff about him, that he doesn't want to be in the company anymore, whether it's a work or a shoot, get the hell out then, okay? Bottom line, I don't.
Right.
I'm sorry, I don't know much about you. You've got this thing where you're this like, I'm gonna say it like your shit don't stink, okay?
Well,
stop it, okay? If he doesn't want to be there, get the hell out. If he wants to make it into a story where he wants to prove himself, fine, by all means, go into it. Let me also quickly say that, Punk, I hope you get better quick, because it kind of sucks, but injuries happen. We all know this. This is wrestling. This is what happened. Yep. And I'm actually going to say this. I give big props to AEW for taking a page out of UFC and keeping a title relevant by putting in the interim into it. Interim UFC champion was a thing when we were watching back in the day. That's basically how I think it went. If the majority champion could not defend his title, hey, you've got the interim going.
Right.
Vince is probably sitting in his mansion or his office or whatever. He's probably ripping his hair out of his scalp thinking, why am I not doing this? And Tony Khan beat him to it. So, AEW's got a one-up on this. I totally agree with what Renegade was saying. WWE should have an interim champion, but not make it the IC or the US or the secondary title. There needs to be, look at Roman right now, okay? There's rumors that Roman might not work during the summer, okay? Normally, if he wasn't going to work during the summer, you get rid of you give up the belts. Bottom line, problem solved. But because Roman's on this new God mode level, you can't just end such a long reign like that. He has to lose the belt legitimately. He has to be beaten for it. If you say, "Oh, Roman Reigns is no longer the champion because he doesn't want to work during the summer," you have ruined the entire span of that title. But I'm going off into the wind here on that one. So, I love the idea of this. I might keep an eye out and see who's gonna win this battle royal. Who's gonna face Mox? Because if you're facing Mox, and if MJF does it, I'm gonna be rooting for Mox to beat the holy hell out of this kid, and kick him out of AEW. That's what I'm thinking.
Right. Mr. Williams.
Uh-oh.
Number one, Roman's God mode is not new. This isn't a new thing for him. He's been in God mode for months.
Almost 2 years, really.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I wanted to touch on is Roman not defending the title during the summer. Number one, that wouldn't be a bad thing in theory. Number two, with him being the undisputed champion, he only should have to defend the belt at the Big Four.
Which you've talked about on the channel. So.
Yeah, but Mikey hasn't been around for some of those.
Right,
right. They need to spend the other 8 pay-per-views building legitimate contenders, because WWE's problem right now is, with the exception of probably Cody, who's got the dream in his sights, there is no legitimate, viable contenders. Everybody has been ran through by Roman Reigns.
Yep.
So to only have him work Rumble, Mania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, maybe Money in the Bank, and spend the rest of the time building contenders for those shows and putting the focus for the main event on, Judgment Day, the United States title, Bobby Lashley, not exactly a bad thing.
There is a question in the chat room, and I'll throw it to Noah first, since we didn't get really the opinion on we didn't get the opinion from Noah. We just got the facts, ma'am, from about the NGP, the New Japan guys. Noah, John says, do you guys have confidence in Tony Khan's ADHD book? Hey, you know what? First of all, ADHD is a legitimate thing. Some people suffer from that. Shame on you, John.
I probably do.
No comment, Michael. Do we have confidence in Tony Khan's booking until Punk returns? No, I'll start with you on that one.
Hello, Matt. Good to see you, by the way. I'm doing
yes,
well.
I see about in there. Yes, yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
one of our loyal supporters.
As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to, let's call it what it is, it's not a bull. I trust Tony Khan a lot in his judgment, because why some of the booking, again, sometimes pace-wise might be a little off. When he does book in an audible situation, it still has a sense of continuity to it, and it still delivers on the forefront. We noticed multiple times during the pandemic saga of AEW, per se, when people couldn't show up due to sickness, he called somebody up instead, and it still put out a great match, and it still pushed the story forward, particularly Jon Moxley. One player was supposed to face this guy. He ended up facing Lance Archer due to the history. So I do trust Tony Khan a bit in his booking strategies, because he actually is trying to do something like we're saying versus what Vince has kind of been doing in the past. And again, you don't compare apples to oranges, but based on what we've seen as fans, we're just looking at how we have seen it. You might have just been looking at just now what's going on. You haven't looked at it maybe as long as us, especially these two gentlemen here. So that being said, just take it for what you will, but I do have confidence in Tony Khan, because I have followed the AEW product since day one, 2019, Double or Nothing, and I've seen the plot only continue to grow from here, and I can't wait to see what's next. As far as this goes, again, AEW is not the first company to actually do this, because believe it or not, how fitting, I'm working with NJPW. NJPW did the same thing last year with the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Will Ospreay was injured. They called up on that and crowned an interim champion at Dominion. Oh, how I fitting. Dominion against Rainmaker Tsuchika Okada and Shingo Takagi. And they made that all play out both across Japan and the United States to crown the definitive champion at this year's Wrestle Kingdom. In my opinion, AEW is just doing a much quicker shorter term type layout to it, and a wise one at that too, because it still preserves the true champion that you know is going to be back, but it also still keeps the identity and the value of the world champion on their product. Whether or not it's defended at Battle of the Belts, All Out, you name it, at least you know it's there, and there is a true champion, but an interim champion in the meantime, and a contest waiting to happen.
And just think about this, Noah. The fact that the recently acquired Ring of Honor just had to do the exact same thing at the end of last year. Bandito went down with COVID, couldn't defend the title. They put Jonathan Gresham in there, and my goodness, did he take the ball and run. Holy moly. So I am, and again, I don't watch UFC as much as I did when Ronda was there, when Brock would cross over, when Punk debuted. But I have always been a fan of the interim champion thing. I know that's a very polarizing concept in wrestling, because a lot of fans are like, just strip the title. It's like, no, there's, again, every single person that I've seen on Twitter complain about WWE, their chief complaint has been lack of long-term, long-projected booking. You've invested how much time, how much money? We know because Tony Khan, it was fucking bullshit that he wasn't making money for the company. So, flat out said it in front of the world in the media scrum. So, this is long-term booking. They have a plan for CM Punk to be champion for X amount of time. Oh, he got hurt? Nah, screw it. No, you guys can't have your cake and eat it too. If you want long-term, long-projected storyline booking, this is where you find it, within the confines of the elite. If you don't, if you want crazy hackneyed stuff that's not ADHD, despite what this question says, feel free to go back and watch WWE. So, yes, Jay.
The other thing you've got to keep in mind, and granted, I'm newer to AEW wrestling than probably anybody else in the room, exception maybe of Mikey.
Right.
Is that at the end of the day, Tony Khan is a fan.
Yeah.
So he's going to book from a fan perspective. Yep. What would I want to see with the talent under my roster as a fan? Whether it's seeing something like MJF versus Mox and use Mox as a weapon to try to dish out some punishment and some pain and teach MJF a lesson, or whether it's going to be something like, oh, I don't know, the American freaking Dragon versus Mox, and have Blackpool Combat Club kind of implode a little bit.
There you go.
You know, what's going to happen here? Whether it ends up being somebody like Eddie Kingston and Mox. And we've talked about their issues in the past as we built up to their match last week at Double or Nothing. Whereas Vince books what Vince wants to see.
Yep.
What Vince and his cronies and his yes men, like John Laurinaitis, want to see.
There you go.
You know, that's the big difference between the two.
The key word, just these two. We're not excluding the rest of the industry, but you got to look at the biggest players. And at the end of the day, the biggest players right now in the industry are WWE and AEW.
Very much so. It's just the way it is. WWE and AEW are the big two, if you will. Yes, we have Impact. Yes, we have NWA. And yes, we are covering those brands on this channel. So let's not forget that. So before we move on to the next topic, I do have to say something. I have a minor bitch I want to throw out there.
Okay.
So I've been a fan for almost 32 years, right? JJ, you've been a fan roughly 24, 25 years or so. Mikey, I forget how far back your fandom goes. Remind me.
90, I believe.
1990.
Okay, so same as me, 32 years. Noah, you're how far back?
Born in 1992, so 30.
There you go. Okay, so our buddies at Paradise Kitty, we all know they've become acquainted with the AEW and WWE rosters thanks to Dolph Ziggler and Justin Roberts. Well, I've been a fan, and I was a huge fan of WCW back in the day. How in the hell are the Kitties meeting Tony Schiavone before I am? That's some bullshit. I call shenanigans.
I can tell you exactly how.
Oh, Jay, trust me. I know exactly how. I'm just using it for, yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Tony Schiavone and Justin Roberts meet Paradise Kitty. That's freaking cool.
So yeah, this is
because that's at the Republic of Lucha store.
Yes, sir.
In Pasadena that the Lucha Brothers own.
Yes, sir. It is. So yeah, so this is.
I know. I was in there.
I know you
recognize that wall.
So yeah. This was the choice I had to make, and unfortunately, I didn't get to go to either one because I ended up just having a bad transportation day. But yeah, so Paradise Kitty went to Night of 1,000 Hunks, whatever the hell the Ziegler brothers called it. Nick. Thank you. Yeah, Nick and Ryan had their show at Lucha. I hear it went very well. It obviously was well attended.
No wonder it was sold out. Freaking AEW roster had tickets.
I was gonna say you see Rebel there, you see Justin, you see the fact that Tony Schiavone came out of his freaking hotel room and did any goddamn thing while he was here is astounding to me. First of all, because then he's just
smile on his face. Can you zoom in on that grin on his face?
Look at Tony Schiavone having the time of his life.
I just love that he's like snuggled up next to Rach and just like Lois is going mucker father.
You've gotta do an artist rendering and give him the little thought bubble saying, "Show me the kitties."
Oh God!
Oh no! There is a hat, Noah. Show me your kitties. It's like it screams that caption right there. Just too funny. But yeah, on the other side of town, over in Hollywood,
face says, "I've seen the kitties."
Accurate, maybe.
That's hilarious. I don't know if that's going to happen if I end up going to California next year.
Well, it's one of those things where that grin on Shivani's face is a similar type reaction to when I ran into Rachel, the snuggly in question here, and little Ariel, Jenna's pocket rocket, as he called her on stage, both enveloped me in this hug outside Staples Center after whatever the hell WWE show that was, and both Christian, our buddy Christian, and Rift are staring like, how the hell do you do that stuff? And I go, because I'm Jeff motherfucking Meacham. That's why.
Respect the name.
That's right. So then there's this. So I'm gonna need your help on this one, Noah, because I forget the young lady's name. So bear with me here.
Okay.
Let's see here. Let me get this. There it is. All right. Let me zoom in here. Whoop! That messed that up. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. So who is the young lady all the way to the right of the picture? Because I always forget her friggin' name.
All the way to the right.
Yeah, next to the redhead.
Yes. So all it is. So you got Rachel, Rebel, Justin, Jenna, and
who is that actually? Is she a worker?
I feel bad because I forgot to take a screen cap off her Instagram and I forgot her damn name already.
I feel like.
Amber Nova. Amber Nova.
I thought that. Okay, I was like, wait a minute, that's not saying AEW talent. That is Amber Nova. Yeah, she works all the time in AEW Dark and AEW Dark Elevation, always ready to give somebody a tune-up with that oil rag.
Well, there you go. Yeah, she was.
What the hell was that? Smile. The two-tone hair job, the black and orange.
So the kitties were on the prowl in Inglewood and Pasadena because actually both Rachel and Jenna showed up to Dynamite. Jenna was there. I want to say halfway through. Rachel hit traffic and walking through parking lot lost traffic. So she made it for the main event pretty much. They came to see Justin because Justin's our boy. So it was cool to see
Justin Roberts, the dapper yapper. One of the best to introduce anything nowadays.
Lord knows they didn't come to see Frankie Kazarian. Bought like 25 of their T-shirts. Jesus.
Yeah, and yeah. Well, the thing was they had committed because they are first and foremost their wrestling friendship is with Nick Nemeth, with Dolph Ziggler. So they had committed to going to his show. However, over at the Whiskey Go-Go Thursday night, we had Jeff Hardy and how do you say his band's name?
Peroxygen.
Yeah, them. And Frankie Kazarian and his band, Gutter Candy, our boys here in Santa Clarita, We Are Wasted, are all there together. Jericho pops on stage during Gutter Candy's set, and my depressed ass is sitting here going, so yeah, happy for my friends. They all got to go out and party Thursday night and into Friday, and it was very cool. It was a great week. Yes, it kind of ended wonky for me, but like I said, tonight's PLE stream again, I can't thank. At one point, we had over 40 people in the room watching you guys, so it was really cool because that never happens for me. So that was really cool to see that people were interested in what you two had to say about NXT and their card tonight. The fact that you were interested in what you guys had to say about an NXT card shows me WWE's doing something, and that I'm doing something right by making sure I have the best commentary team to call whatever WWE is throwing at us. So I am over the moon for that. So I'm very happy.
No, we are to the moon.
Well,
and it's just like was said earlier in the chat room. I forget who mentioned it, but NXT is not as bad as some fans will make it sound like it is.
It's not at all.
Like I said, it's not my NXT, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just different. Again, it's like Samoa Joe says, there's different stuff for everybody. For me, it does not appeal to me as much as the black and gold, but there is some promising talent, definitely, that I hope thrives and grows. Roxanne Perez and Ivy Nile and Braun Van Breaker at the top.
There you go.
So the next thing I'm going to bring up is strictly a promotional tool, strictly a plug, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about it anyway because I really want to put it out there to everybody that hasn't seen it yet. And Mikey, I know you'll be interested because you were part of the original Casa that got into the fandom of this show, so I'll go ahead and throw it up there. JJ has decided that for his Saturday offerings, he is doing new release Saturdays. And the movie he did earlier today that went out at just before we went on the air was the movie interpretation of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, which I had the opportunity to watch with Dylan not too long after it premiered. JJ, of course, watched it before he did the review, and I adored it. I thought it was so good. So, again, there is a theme that JJ runs every month on Renegade's Reviews. This month is movies with only one sequel, and, of course, we're going to go into Wayne's World and Wayne's World 2 coming up on Monday and Wednesday, which we'll get into later when we do our final plugs for the night. But what made you decide, Jay, to make Saturdays be new release, and why did you pick this one, and as well as what you're doing next Saturday, which I'll go ahead and get the graphic up. So you did Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers earlier today. Again, go watch it on demand when we're off the air here. And then next week, a movie I'd never heard of until you brought it up to me, Good Morning, with a U in there for, was it Morning to Death or whatever. Where was the concept of new release, and what a stark contrast between the two new releases?
Well, the concept of new release was just a matter of me and Cece getting to go and see movies in theaters together as a couple. Obviously, this was streaming.
Right.
And wanting to cover them while they're still new, topical, can generate views for the channel because as people are going to see it, they want to see people talk about it.
Right.
Well, it's relevant instead of waiting for Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers to come up in some theme month that I can throw together.
Right.
It was a way to try and keep what I'm seeing in the theaters or that is premiering on Disney Plus or Paramount or HBO Max or insert streaming site here, Netflix. And just
that's most likely
keeping it topical, current, and up to date so that it can bring in more views, more viewership hours for me so that I can eventually reach that goal, as I say on every freaking episode of my show, end up getting monetized.
Ding.
I need to reach 4,000 hours of viewership in a month's time or in a year's time to get monetized. And I'm currently sitting at about 1,100 hours.
Over 25% there.
But here's the thing.
It fluctuates because it goes from today's date through last year on this date.
Yeah.
So if I posted something up last year tomorrow or today, that had like 50 views, theoretically 50-hour views because it was something very popular, a lot of traffic came. And then my channel today didn't get the same amount of hours, I'm going to lose 50 hours come tomorrow.
Right. Yeah.
So it's all about keeping it at that level for a year span.
Jeez.
So it's been very fluctuating. So I've been kind of trying to cheat the system a little bit and putting a playlist on my computer here, my laptop, when I go to work and just letting it run through all the videos in that playlist while I'm gone to try to get hours run up. Figure I'm gone at work for about 8 hours a day. That's 8 hours, plus whatever outside is coming through to my channel.
There you go.
If I have 2 tabs, that's 16 hours in the 8 hours I'm gone.
Right.
As far as what inspired me to do this movie in particular, number one, I grew up with the Disney afternoon, as I know Mikey did. You know, my Disney afternoon, we talked about what your NXT is, Noah. My Disney afternoon was DuckTales, Rescue Rangers, Tailspin, Darkwing Duck.
Yeah. Darkwing Duck, that's my show. Let's freaking go. I love it.
That was my Disney afternoon. Yeah, there was Gummy Bears before then, but I never really cared for Gummy Bears.
Oh yeah, it was a thing, Noah.
And then when DuckTales left, it became Rescue Rangers, Tailspin, Darkwing, and Goof Troop.
Yes.
I remember all those shows. I used to watch those.
That I'll claim as well as my Disney afternoon. But once Rescue Rangers left, and it became Tailspin, Darkwing, Goof Troop, and then like Bonkers and Gargoyles, and the movies turned series, like Aladdin the series, Lilo and Stitch the series,
Hercules the series.
I was like, I'm good.
Right.
I would maybe tune in for the first hour and watch the Tailspin Darkwing repeats because they weren't making new episodes.
No,
but I'd maybe tune in for the first hour, watch those, and then I'd turn the TV off.
Darkwing Duck was like my show, man. When that show stopped, I was pissed.
Me
JJ.
too, dude. I have Negaduck on my
I was gonna say, if you can, I there you go. Oh,
there it is.
Can you make it happen? Okay, let me hang on.
There it is.
There you go.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember get the movie when it was talking about how he was going to throw this switch constantly over and over again. So, Darkwing Duck, I can talk about that all the time. Okay, that was a show I actually did grow up with. That was my Disney show. Anyway, continue.
Thank you. Darkwing was always my show too, but they announced that they were going to do this, and I was like, okay, I'm concerned. I'm lost. Why now? They did the DuckTales revival series, and it was a load of hot garbage.
It was so bad.
And then I started
they try to revive an old IP for today's generation.
Oh well, no, it was so bad, Noah. They brought Darkwing onto DuckTales for an episode, and people were like, "Nope, sorry." They couldn't even relaunch Darkwing. It was so bad.
I heard about that because someone brought Darkwing Duck to me. I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Oh,
and I heard it, and I was like, "What?"
It was a collective cough up crap. Like,
anyway, continue.
So I was curious what they were gonna do with this, and then as I started to see trailers and promotional material, I got slightly more and more intrigued.
Yes.
And the long and the short of it, without regurgitating everything that I said on my broadcast, which would make you not have to go see it. It's essentially a modern day version of Roger Rabbit. Humans living in the real world with humans, interacting as such. You've got cameos from non-Disney IPs.
Yep.
Such as Sonic the Hedgehog, My Little Pony, Randy from South Park, just to name a couple. The fact that they have a South Park character in a Disney movie, think about that one for a moment. Think about how not Disney South Park is, and how they have made fun of Disney at virtually every twist and turn. Need I remind people of the Jonas Brothers episode?
No, you don't.
So for there to be a South Park character in a Disney property, whoa. Right there.
Holy hell.
And then the contrast in the animation style, Chip is 2D because it's traditional animation, and Dale is 3D because he's had work done. He's tried to stay hip and relevant. So that's why Dale looks completely different to Chip. And Dale looks like something plucked out of Alvin and the Chipmunks instead of the traditional Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
Alvin!
This one, I was trying to find something to do to keep New Release Saturdays going and not have a dead week. Is basically what this came down to. So I looked up new movies in May. because I always like to try to give a couple weeks between release date and me covering it to kind of avoid spoilers. I figure if people haven't seen it in the first couple weeks, chances are they're not gonna.
Right.
The people that really care about a movie, a property, are gonna see it in those first couple weeks, come hell or high water.
Right.
So I always try to wait a couple weeks. So considering this was June 11th, the second weekend of the month, I looked for something that was coming out in May. And I found this movie and I looked at the cast listing. That's what caught my eye. You've got Machine Gun Kelly there scratching his head. Okay, so you got MGK. Of course, ties to wrestling with his song Invincible, which represented John Cena in the Cena Rock battle.
WrestleMania 28.
But then in the top row there, you've got Becky G. You've got Dove Cameron. You've got Pete Davidson. You've got Megan Fox on the bottom row. You've got Whitney Cummings. Snoop Dogg has a cameo. Danny Trejo has a cameo. NWO for Life member Dennis Rodman has a cameo. Tom Arnold has a cameo. All of this went into me deciding to do this, and out of all the places that I could find this movie, I actually found it on YouTube in its entirety. So anybody that wants to see this movie can find it on YouTube for free. Watch it before next Saturday when I cover it. It's definitely a stoner film. That's putting it mildly, but like I told Cece this morning at breakfast, or maybe it was last night. I forget when I said it. It was over the last 24 hours. But to call it a stoner movie is kind of a disservice to stoner movies. It had heart in the right places, but I just feel like it misfired overall. And I'll get more in detail with that on June 11th at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 o'clock Eastern, when the review goes live.
I love it. So I'm going to ask the room now, because we're going to next. This Open Mic Night's going to become the Renegade the Renegade preview hour here, apparently. And I'm okay with that.
Hey, you know what? If we have nothing to cover, I am down for the shameless shill, because I need to get my views up. Damn it!
That's
and
it.
I know this is where we're going to lose Noah.
Market yourself, but you can.
I know this is where we're going to lose Noah, because he only watches professional wrestling. Damn it, if we can get him to engage even temporarily, like we did about Darkwing Duck.
I was going to say, there we got engaged about Darkwing. I didn't see that coming, so there you go.
I feel like
you know me. You don't know me fully.
You never knew it.
I would have suggested to keep the Darkwing Duck stuff. Tell the story about going to Comic-Con.
Well,
we went to one of the LA Kamikaze expos and got to actually meet Jim Cummings.
Yes.
Nice.
And I have a picture with him. I'm not going to find it, send it to Jeff for him to load, but I actually have a picture of him pointing to my tattoo, in the words of Roman Reigns, acknowledging me.
That's it.
Right. Right. We do see your question regarding Red Creative Hate appearance by Wyndham Rotunda.
So it's one of those. I don't really see the fact that he.
God, so many predictions.
I mean, there's just so many things. And you know what? We can very easily say no, or say yes, or say. Because the truth is, we don't know. But you know. Everything we thought we knew has been turned on its ear in the last month. We had the WWE Women's Tag Champions walk out again. We had MJF doing what he's done the last couple of weeks. I would love it if Bray were to return, if they actually gave Bray something wonderful and something to sink his fiend teeth into that would be worthwhile and give him a if to come back. But if it's just going to be another cog in the wheel in the or a cog in the wheel, no, not at all.
Especially since we just got Alexa Bliss back as normal,
right?
You know, having him come back, they'd almost have to flip her over again and turn her back. And it's like, no, we went through all those months of them not knowing what to do with her. We just finally got her back.
Right?
And we
Let's
don't
not
need a
lose it.
rehash of WrestleMania 37 Day 2 opener.
So the next show I'm going to go to with JJ is honestly part of something that I'm so happy about as a fan of mainly one series, but definitely the series he's actually covering. Growing up, when we grew up, and again, JJ and Mike, you're older than me. We're all older than you, Noah. It's one of those. The fact that you were born the same year as Fantasmic was premiered, and you're only a few days older, makes my spine just curve every time I think about that. But just ungodly ridiculous. But as a fan growing up of various franchises and TVs, one thing I always hated about the arguably two primary sci-fi franchises is that we never really got that moment between, okay, what happened before episode 4? Why is Vader Vader? We saw what happened at the end of Return of the Jedi, but how did Anakin Skywalker become Darth Vader in the first place? Well, George Lucas answered that question for us between 1999 and 2005. So good for him. But what happened once Anakin fell? What happened in the interim? Why did Ben take Luke to Tatooine? What happened on that planet, that god-awful two-star planet? And not only that, but let me just ask you this, for Star Trek fans at the same time, and I'll bring James in since he's here. Hello, James.
Hi.
Hey, James.
Sorry about that.
By the way, hold on real quick. James, you freaking idiots.
Did it play? Fuck,
Yes.
did I miss it? Ah,
You missed it. You missed it.
Sorry, we'll air again tomorrow during Red Crate of Hate.
That's right. Oh, no. He has a whole other video for Red Crate of Hate, so don't worry about that.
Well, no, it's the same video, just without the addition of me fucking up on the pay-per-view.
Oh, God, you broke me. You threw me off.
Not only did he pet the pussy on the air, but the pussy done corrected him on the air. That was even worse. Anyway.
James, we went from airing that video into Mandy Rose versus Wendy Chu. So we went from a video of you petting the pussy to Mandy Rose all up in our face.
Oh, wow. 2 different versions. I see. There's layers to this.
Needless to say, Noah was flustered for a moment in a way we haven't seen Noah flustered before.
We broke his sad sack cell.
Man, I gotta see this. I gotta replay.
You gotta go back and watch it on demand for sure.
To take a quote from the other franchise that you're not talking about, Jeff, we boldly sent Noah where he had never gone before.
That's right. So,
at least not on the air with us.
Right.
Infinity and beyond, as they say.
Right. So, but no, I actually was going to talk about that because, prior to, the pilot we saw with William Shatner, we saw a brief glimpse later on when they released it of Captain Pike. But what happened to Captain Pike? What happened to, in the interim between the pilot that never aired until much later and what we're seeing now? Because for the first time that I can recall, there are stories being told from Star Trek and Star Wars that are filling in those enormously important gaps in franchise histories. What happened in the years between the commissioning of the Enterprise and Captain Kirk taking over with Captain Pike there, and what happened once Obi-Wan took Luke Skywalker to Tatooine, and the senator and the princess of the Queen of Alderaan took Leia to their planet. We're getting to see those things unfold, and JJ, being the Star Wars fan that I know he is, decided to fill his Thursday slot at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern by reviewing weekly Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I'm gonna ask you, Jay, first again. And I know you're a fan. I know that's probably why you chose to do this. But the fact that they moved to Wednesdays kind of screws you up. But it is what it is. I am so happy as a more recent fan than you or Bruce or a lot of people, but I'm very happy as a fan that this is available Wednesdays, and then that same night at midnight, which is actually Thursday, new Star Trek is premiering. So for the first time that I can recall, us sci-fi geeks that appreciate the franchises that have impacted the most in our history are both having new content go up at the exact same time.
Which, by the way, it also sounds. Correct me if I'm wrong. It also sounds like you're kind of talking about a crossover. So I'll just say this, and
no.
But if somehow through all of this, I get to see Spock with a lightsaber, I'm happy. I'm content with the light.
Well, if there was enough nice talk between Disney and Paramount, maybe. But the fact that Disney and Sony can't get along leads me to believe it probably won't happen. So JJ, again, the choice is obvious. I mean, you have a slot Thursday. You have a brand new series based on one of your favorite franchises, one of your favorite fandoms. But again, I feel this may be the most important anthology series on Disney Plus when it comes to Star Wars. Would you agree with that?
Oh, without question. You know, obviously Boba Fett is and has always been my favorite Star Wars character. So when they debuted The Mandalorian, and, you know, Boba Fett always wore Mandalorian armor, you know, you kind of got those tie-ins and everything. So I was intrigued, but I never made it out of the first season, unfortunately, with The Mandalorian.
Right.
And then they announced the book of Boba Fett, and it was like, okay, they're going to do something with my character. Still never watched it. For whatever reason, it was at a point where I just couldn't get excited about it.
Right.
But this is something that I've been excited about since they originally announced it at D23. I want to say like 4 years ago.
It's been a minute, yeah.
Because maybe even longer than that, because I want to say they announced this around the same time they announced Solo.
Roughly.
And,
yeah, so it was...
Solo tanked so bad at the box office.
Oh, you ain't kidding.
That they scrapped all of the other movies that were going to be the fill in the gap type of movies. The stories before the story.
Well, I mean, not to mention the storyline itself and the backstory got Solo's backstory all kinds of mucker futtered up.
You're joining late, James. You can say the fuck word. We've already thrown it a couple times in your absence.
Oh, okay.
But
fuck.
But when they then announced that they were going to do this as a limited series, you know, I don't consider myself straight edge anymore because y'all have actually seen me take shots on the air, so I can't do that. But I've never done hard drugs whatsoever. The only thing I can compare it to is a fiend itching for a fix.
Right.
That is how I felt when I saw this was coming out. And especially when they announced Ewan McGregor was back as Obi-Wan and Hayden Christensen was going to be back as Anakin Vader. You know, the fact that they were willing to come back and reprise those characters, more so Hayden, when you figure how much he just got royally crapped on like a big old steaming pile of bantha fodder.
Right.
The fact that they came back for this got me all kinds of giddy inside.
Right.
So again, it became a matter of I have Tuesday and Thursdays where I don't put up content.
Right.
Tuesdays I leave open for talk wrestling for Jeff. I'm not going to try and compete with the great and powerful Jeff Meacham. I know better. And then once he comes back in the fall, you got Stat Boy and Jeff on the same day. Not going to try to compete with that. So I got Thursdays open. The first 2 episodes premiered on Friday. I waited a week for the next week. Figured instead of waiting 2 weeks on this one, I'll just do them every week. And it'll be the week after it airs. So episode 3 will go up next week. Episode 4 will go up the week after. And granted, even though they're moving it to Wednesdays now, it's still going to be a week ahead of time to where when episode 4 is airing this Wednesday, episode 3 is going live.
For you, right, exactly.
Yeah, so there's still enough of a lag where I'm not going to be trying to cover the episode the day after it airs.
Right.
Stat Boy, I saw your hand go up. What's up?
Well, I am going to take my leave soon after this, but first off, I love the show. It's a great show. I am following it, and I'm glad.
I was going to say, be careful how much you say, because I know CC hasn't seen any, and I know she's in the chat room. The rest of the people in the chat room, I don't know if they've seen it. I don't know if they care so much.
That's what I was going to ask. I mean,
try to be careful what you say.
Well, then I don't even know if I should say it because I don't want to ruin it for anybody.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah.
You can always PM me.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna live PM you right now. Then, okay, because something happens in the series that I had no idea that it did happen, and I have not read the books. I know nothing about the books, the comics, the canon, whatever all that is. So let me do this real quick, and then I'll take off. James, I'm glad you came in because you take over my spot. So
I see.
That's a good
By the way, since you're doing that live DM thing about this, how was Takeover? Was it all right? I heard it was okay.
It was an okay show, to say the least. I enjoyed it for what it was worth. Me and Jada had a good time calling it. There's a couple spots I'm like, ugh, and again, the transition from you and that broke me for a good 5 damn minutes. But overall, it was a fun show. I enjoyed it for what it brought.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it was better than okay, but then again, it's going to sound bad, but I have lower standards than you guys have, because being back into the swing of things with WWE, I haven't become as jaded, because I'm kind of like a fresh fan again.
There you go.
So I feel like my expectations aren't as high on a regular as you guys are with watching AEW and Impact and New Japan.
Right.
So I thought it was better than okay. I think it's better than Raymond is giving it credit for in the chat room, and Ken is saying, just okay, yikes.
It was better than okay. It was better than okay.
I think it was much better than that. I would give it probably a solid B+ rating.
Yeah.
I'm not one to rate shows because I don't believe in ratings, whether it's letters or stars. But
I think
mutually, I will agree with that here. I'll go with that.
I think the reason why people would be saying that, though, and this is totally fair, and to your point, you're kind of a fresh fan again. There's a lot of people, myself included, that kind of did grow up, well, at least in their young adult years, with Black and Gold NXT when it first launched on the network. And I mean, that stuff doesn't even compare to what they're trying here.
James, you're now in the Team NoDQ chat. You saw how many people put in hashtag not my NXT.
Yeah. Oh, dude. You know what? That actually did surprise me a little bit because
really, why?
I think the main reason is because I know there are some fans or some people in Team NoDQ that want to try and give WWE some slack, especially this new NXT. Like, hey, let it play out. It's barely 3 months in, maybe 4 months in at this point.
Now,
I'll tell you that much right now.
It feels a lot shorter for some reason, but there's a lot of people that I would expect to try and at least give some leeway. I see nothing in that chat. They hate this NXT, and I was shocked personally. Yeah, I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. I'm right there with them. But
and again, it's that perspective. We grew up in Triple H's NXT, my NXT. But I digress. And he is a fresh face, and this NXT is supposed to reach out to a whole new generation of sports entertainment enthusiasts, last wrestling fans, people who don't know what is up from down inside a wrestling ring, etc. And to a degree, it has worked. A little bit.
Hasn't?
Maybe in the Peacock
like
numbers,
I said,
but
there is potential. I look at people like Braun Breaker, the Creed brothers, Ivy Nile, Roxanne Perez. There is potential in great future stars. It just
I'm
comes
sure.
down to how Vince books it at the end of the day when they
Right.
go up to the other rosters.
Well, okay, so here's my thing. Here's my theory on that, which is fine. But when you look at numbers, the numbers are way lower than NXT was when it was actually on Wednesdays.
True, but Vince now
way
care.
Lower.
He doesn't care.
I mean, it's obvious. It's like he doesn't give a damn anymore. But like, why would he?
It's developmental. It's no longer an alternative. That was the beauty of our NXT. It was the alternative in the freaking WWE.
Yeah.
But I digress.
It's one of those guys, you know. And again, you two, Noah and James, grew up in a fandom that, you know, you guys got very lucky that you came into your formative years as wrestling fans when, as little competition as there was, WWE was still decent enough to watch, and NXT provided the alternative that was for the wrestling fan that didn't necessarily want to stray away from WWE and, you know, totally abandon the sports entertainment world. Nowadays, there's so many options, and this goes back to what I was talking about earlier with Obi-Wan and with Strange New Worlds over on Paramount. The era of streaming has definitely opened up avenues to fans of all entertainment venues, of all genres, of all entertainment, everything. You figure, when I got quarantined at my sister's place up there over a couple summers ago when it was really bad, the pandemic, I had 3 separate monitors up, and I could watch the hockey, Dodger game, and professional wrestling at the same time without having a cable wire going all through the freaking room and tearing shit up. That's the beauty of the world we live in now. But as I've always said, where there's a blessing, there's a burden, because there's so many options that you almost get burnt out and jaded by complete circumstance. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, all this shit sucks. There's so much of it. Yeah. So
I reached that point this week outside of work, just trying to catch up on everything. That's why I gave myself Friday off from work. And I kid you not, when I got off work at 4:30 p.m. on Thursday, I went to my bed because I was in here. I went to my bed at 5, and I thought I was just going to take a nap. I ended up sleeping for 12 straight hours until the Best Super Juniors was on the next day. And after I got up miraculously to watch Best Super Juniors, immediately when it went over, back to sleep, didn't wake up till noon.
It's
and
crazy.
Then I watched NXT UK and Impact Wrestling because I'm crazy.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, and it's one of those, again, you know, I honestly didn't mind not covering Best Super Juniors because, again, you know, I've talked to you guys off air, but the last 2 days have just been bonkers up here. So it was good to just kind of, get stuff done around here and just breathe.
Right.
So it was all good.
God,
with how much we did alone this past week, and I've done more with wrestling than I've ever done before in my life, working with you and collaborating with you guys. I was just like, holy hell, I reached my burnout point.
Yeah, it's been crazy. I mean, and just with the stuff between AEW and WWE alone.
Yeah, I mean, we came off. What happened?
No, I was just saying, holy shnikey.
Oh, shnikey. I said Mikey. Yeah. So yeah, it was one of those.
Ready to take off.
Okay, well, Mikey, have a wonderful night. Well,
it's midnight out here.
And you know what? Actually, I hate to be a buzzkill, but I've got 2 different people in family asking me to call them too. So I'm going to go ahead and call it in general.
That sounds fair.
Sorry, I know, James. I feel bad. I'm sorry, but it's just people are just driving crazy.
Sometimes the boss just has to call an audible. You know what this means? More for tomorrow night.
That's right. Exactly. So based on that, we're going to go ahead and plug tomorrow night because, as we've stated with the ha-ha on our tongues, tomorrow is the Red Crate of Hate.
Damn it!
So,
oh my god!
Obviously,
and a repeat appearance of James.
Sense of humor, but, you know.
And a repeat appearance of James petting his pussy.
That's right. We will have an encore presentation live on the Jeff Meacham Network via tape of James petting his pussy.
Live via satellite.
Yeah, that's right. Live via satellite, Dwayne Johnson style. That's right. Although
you suck.
I gotta see
like
this reaction now. Just the little reactions I'm getting now. Oh my
I feel
god!
like you have to time it to Eric before the Bianca, Asuka, Becky Lynch match.
You evil! You wrong for that.
Yeah, that's.
AJ, what the hell, man?
Oh man, I missed a lot, huh? I missed a ton.
It's either that or do it before the Judgment Day versus Finn, AJ, Liv Morgan match.
Okay, so JJ's truly inclined to break Noah once and for all. I need this man to commentate tomorrow. What is wrong with you?
You know what?
What happened here?
I'm gonna be sitting here right next to him doing color again because apparently that's what the people want. People power.
Yeah, James, you missed that part of the show too. At one point during the course of the stream, we had over 40 people watching because these two were doing such a great job on the call. It was awesome. It was wonderful. Wow. So it was very, very humbling for me. That many people in the same room at the same time. It was very cool. But we will look forward to that tomorrow again with the Red Crate of Hate. Again, if you can't have a haha, it's Hell in a Cell Sunday, kids. Come on. So, but Stat Boy, 4, James Hebert, who came in briefly and petted this pussy live via tape earlier. 4, the simple man with the commentary status, Noah Foster. 4, the renegade JJ Williams. I am the West Coast Jeff Meacham. This has been our coverage of NXT in your house, except James, because he can't piss in your house because that's illegal. This has been Open Mic Night, and we will see you guys